Hello everyone, this is the Great Remake here, and most people who have bothered to look into the series must know that we are close to the 30th anniversary of the series we all love so much. Yet, as we are getting closer to that, a lot of the fan base doesn't seem to talk about it. I mean, I get it, because Three Houses is still pretty popular, Heroes is releasing content rather frequently, a lot of the fan base is rather new, and doesn't even know the original Fire Emblem date, which is April 20th, 1990. Not to flex, but yeah, I mean, they don't seem to be talking about it, but the thing is, there's a lot they can do for this anniversary special. And that's another problem. There's a lot they could do. But what will they do is the good question. Well, I'm here today to present a few possible options. Now, these may not happen, only one will happen, or none will happen, and it'll be like Final Fantasy's 30th anniversary in 2017, where they decide to just sell cakeware and alcohol for their 30th, and barely do jack shit. Like, no joke, that actually fucking happened. That actually fucking happened, and I'll get back to it later. But, for now, let's just jump into this. The first thing I would say is, alongside the last DLC for Three Houses, we should perhaps bring out a new remake of a game. I say this because it'd be great if Nintendo/Intelligent Systems decide to respect fans and give them a game they've been itching to play. One they'd probably heard about from fans who have played a few ROMs, has a fair amount of characters from said game and heroes. With that, though, I'm talking about two options. Those being Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, and or Fire Emblem Blazing Blade. Now, I personally would love a Genealogy remake, since it is the game everyone hears about constantly, but outside of emulation, which Nintendo is killing faster than Blizzard is killing their reputation, despite their apologies at BlizzCon, despite their fucking poor attempts to sweep it under the rug. And, well, anyway, getting back on topic, it'd be much easier to get people to play this game and know more about it. But there's a merit for an FE6 remake. You see, I have personally always had the belief that if a game was bad, there's a chance to make it good. Such examples for me include the Final Fantasy 13, the first one, not the sequels, because those are actually pretty good. Sonic 06. No, I'm not kidding. I would like to see this game remade and perhaps done right. You know, you can't fix the furry shit, because that's just going to happen no matter what. The story will be cringy, but you can make the fucking gameplay fun. And lastly, Fire Emblem The Binding Blade. Yeah, I'm on the side that thinks this game sucks, but I also believe you can make it not suck. Something that Intelligent System has done twice before, with Shadow Dragon and Shadows of Valentia, and has only failed once with New Mystery of the Emblem, the only game that doesn't have Shadow in its name. But that's just a weird coincidence. And, well, my opinions on the game you can check out on my review of Mystery of the Emblem on my channel. But there's one more piece of evidence that I will bring up. That being, they were already working on another remake. You see, from an article by Nintendo Enthusiast on November 3rd, 2019, because I'm putting the date here, because if I don't, this will probably look dated, that Imran Khan of Game Informer talked about a scrapped remake for the 3DS that was cancelled because, well, the 3DS was super old at that point in development terms, and the Switch was, well, in development/released. I mean, heck, it was already out when Shadows of Valentia came out, and that's why it didn't sell as well as Awakening/Fates, though people erroneously call Echoes a flop, which, speaking of, I will get to a video on that, because that debacle hurts my fucking brain skull. But, either way, it is also said that it is very possible we will get the remake brought back on the Switch, but we'll have to see, since I personally would love it, like, if we got a Switch remake next year, because it's already been worked on, there's a lot to it, and, you know, again, I just want to see it happen, but we'll have to see. As for the next idea, how about a Fire Emblem anime? It's been a long time since we got an anime for this series, and that was back in the late 90s with a 2-episode OVA that was, well, let's just for the sake of argument call it a decent series. But it was only 2 OVAs and as such didn't even cover the full game they were doing, which was Dark Dragon Sword of Light. It also sort of bastardized a few characters, in particular Marth and Sheeta, who were basically Shinji and Asuka from Neon Genesis Evangelion with all their bitchiness and whininess. Not that Marth being voiced by Spike Spencer helps that at all. But what I want for a Fire Emblem anime is not an anime based off a game, but rather its own story that has its own characters and enemies and like. Yet also keep the core elements such as political intrigue, a nice deep story, and characters. In all honesty, if this part sounds so lacking, it is because here I'm going to do a video on this idea soon, and I don't want to give away everything from my idea here, so yeah, this one is more of a blip than a point, but again, another video coming soon. The next idea I have though is the idea of a Fire Emblem crossover with a series they haven't done yet. Not including Smash because, well, Smash is pretty much the ultimate crossover. With this, I have many ideas to bounce off of, though let me just state 3 to start with. Like 3 series I think they could easily work with, those being Pokemon, Final Fantasy, and Berserk. Now that last one's going to raise some brows, but I'm going to save it for last. First, let's go with Pokemon. For this game, I would go in the vein of Mystery Dungeon in that the Pokemon are all speaking like humans and act like people too. With that, they would be in a whole new world, unlike the Pokemon world, one where Pokemon are split into kingdoms or empires and whatnot, perhaps even take inspiration from 3 houses where we follow a different route depending on which starter we pick. Like, let's go with the starters being Charmander, Piplup, and Rowlet for our choices. Just to have a diverse array of generations, and maybe selective mons from those gens, with each army perhaps have different mons they use as units that others won't have. Like, say, Charmander army is Gen 1 through 3, Piplup is 4 through 6, and Rowlet 7 through 8. Each kingdom repping an era of Pokemon in a way, perhaps having a Jagan that is a stage of one evolution of another starter, like, say, Gen 1's Charmander has a Blastoise for a Jagan. Just something to think about. Though another topic you have to cover is permanent death, which, what will they do with that? Well, with that, we just keep it. Yeah, simple as that. I say this because it is not a main series Pokemon game where they would just faint. It'd be a Pokemon war, and having them just simply faint would be stupid. Now, we could also do revival shrines in the form of Chansey that, during battle prep, you can pay money to revive. In-game money to clarify, so that people don't think it's a gambling scheme that I'm bringing up, but they suffer a stat penalty for that battle. With equipment, just have it be natural moves, and for each type of Pokemon have certain additions they equip, such as having claws for Pikachus or outright copying gauntlets for fighting type Pokemon. Also have TMs to teach them unnatural moves, like say, in their natural move list a character doesn't learn Ember or whatnot, to splice it on there. There really is a lot you can do there. But now let's move on to a potential of a Fire Emblem Final Fantasy crossover. This one would be a simple idea really, just have the 2 series have characters meet. However, how would it play out in a gameplay sort of way, you might ask? Well, personally, to get an idea, look to the crossover between Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, aka Crash Purple and Spyro Orange. In their games, they went to each other's worlds and faced their villains, and they could totally do this here. Like, make the Final Fantasy characters face the villains of Fire Emblem, such as Medeus and Grima, while Fire Emblem Lords face Garland and Sephiroth. It would be simple and fun. Also, I'd personally just say, to make it more insane, have the FF characters play like FE and vice versa. Just imagine permadeath with an FF character, or like in the non-tactics FF games. I personally would kill for that. But That's just a simple idea, and that's really all I've got. Now, you all are probably were raising your brow in regards to a specific idea I mentioned out of the three. That being a Berserk Fire Emblem game. Berserk Emblem, if you will. Now, your first concern may be that Berserk story is too mature for Nintendo to do anything with. And with that, I raise you a Bayonetta. And if they didn't like showing horrific things, they never would have cursed our eyes with Fire Emblem Fates and Xenoblade Chronicles X. Oh, and Metroid Federation Forces. But either way, I don't think it'd be too hard to do a Fire Emblem style Berserk game. There are a few things that would need to be addressed though. First is the idea of a weapon triangle, which personally I say just throw that shit away. It's not like it is as vital to the series as we like to make it. Honestly, it's just good for Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, and since there's only been good, along terrain, so I think it would be fine to get rid of it. Though I feel like Echoes and Three Houses have kind of made us not care, so it's a non-issue. Just something to address. Next point is, how far will the story go? The reason I ask this is because there are two reasonable points in the story to stop. Spoilers ahead, by the way. So the first idea is to have it end at the eclipse, mostly because, well, if you have seen Berserk, that's where pretty much everyone is dead, and it's just honestly Guts or a very small party at that point. Otherwise, you can also end it when Guts gets on the boat, which is a big point in the manga, which I don't know if the 2017 anime or whatever, because no one talks about that 2017 anime, if Guts got on the boat. I say this could also be a good endpoint, as after Guts gets on the boat, there isn't too much action, and the story tones itself down a fair amount. So that would be a good endpoint solely so they don't deviate too far from the manga. Just include some missions for the Band of the Hawk, and maybe incorporate a support system where they get conversations not the original manga. But you can't deviate too far, I feel. Also, for gameplay, outside of what I just mentioned, no idea, but they can think of all sorts of mechanics themselves. Like, there's a lot they could do for Berserk. Like, personal skills, implementation of other skills into the fucking game. Like, I would think Guts has Wrath and fucking Miracle, because that dude, oh no, he'd have fucking Vantage Wrath, because the dude he's predicated on basically killing himself. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for Berserk Emblem. Now, for my last idea, this one's gonna get a lot of shouts. But here it is. Fire Emblem Warriors 2. Yeah, I know, you can boo me all you want, but it is most likely to happen. You see, it's clear that Nintendo and Koei Tecmo have a pretty good working relationship, as they have been chosen to work on two of the biggest franchises for Nintendo this decade. Those being Pokemon with Pokemon Conquest, and Fire Emblem with Fire Emblem Warriors and Fire Emblem Three Houses. With Fire Emblem Three Houses being a success, there's no reason to not have them go back and try to make another good Warrior sequel. Now, for this to happen, there needs to be some things addressed. First off, we need a different director. It was clear from the start that the director had some weird ideas, especially when it came to character selection. Like, I remember an article where, he said that the reason he picked Linda basically came down to, I was turned on by her feet. Like, no fucking joke. Dude just put Linda in there because of a foot fetish. This director was clearly thinking with his brain, and certainly not another head on his body. But that is just one of the two things that really need fixing. Next is the roster. I get having mostly Arcanea and Fates Landia characters, and yes, I count Elise as Arcanea, but having barely anyone but them, that is just not cool. Especially since fans were hyped at the idea of having, say, Ike join in and kill shit. Or hell, have Sigurd. Outside of Lords, fan favorites like Raven or even fucking Reinhardt. They should have focused on a wider selection of the series. But alas, they played it too safe with using only characters that were in the most recent games, and Fire Emblem 1 and 3, since you can't disregard Tiki, Marth, and Kata. Yet here's the thing, most of the Warriors games, what I understand, when they do crossovers, take risks when adding characters. Like I remember Gundam Warriors pulling from the Obscure series and getting me interested in checking those older series out. Same with Hyrule Warriors. These games are the perfect opportunities to have fans of obscure characters or the lesser known games gush. Like going off of FE5, what if we had Orson in his personal axe kicking all kinds of ass and taking out thousands as you go up and beat up wave upon wave of enemies? It'd make people curious about him in his game and garner interest in the game, thus making the possibility of a remake viable. Crossovers gift wrap this for companies, but this may just be my wants. Despite all I've said, there is one more possibility for them to do. Absolutely nothing. This really could be like the Final Fantasy 30th anniversary and decide they won't show anything meaningful. In that anniversary back in 2017, they just unveiled all kinds of kitchenware and alcohol. No news on the Final Fantasy VII Remake despite it being the original game's 20th anniversary and the perfect time to bring the fucking remake up. Hell, we barely got anything on the then unknown DLC for Final Fantasy 15 aside from the release date of Episode Gladiolus, which, honestly, all of this shit was a mess. It's also why I want there so badly for there to be something glorious like the Fire Emblem Direct from 2017, where we get a celebration of the series. I mean, is that really so hard to ask for? Like, just not to have it be a lazy effort, have it actually be meaningful, be celebrated, be cared about. But, anyway, this is all the ideas I have for how Fire Emblem could spend its 30th anniversary, whether bright, good ideas, or glim like I just described. What do you guys think? Do you have any ideas for what they could do, if anything at all? Please tell me what you think. This has been The Great Rick, and I'll see you next time. Please leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you joined the video. I will see you all next time. Farewell! Hey everyone, I know I just ended the video, but I just wanted to say thank you, and there's actually going to be progress on that Fire Emblem 4 video I keep talking about, but have done nothing for. By the end of December, you are going to see a preview of the Fire Emblem 4 retrospective video. I'm going to be working on that throughout all of this month. I've got the script almost done, but I figured people have been waiting for this for so long that I just couldn't leave them hanging. Also, wanted to thank, even though I posted their name in the credits, Blazing Knight, honestly, thank you for letting me use your Fire Emblem Warriors footage. Great guy, by the way, check out his channel, though, again, like everyone I've suggested, you've probably come from him over to me. But anyway, just want to let you know, Fire Emblem 4 video happening in December. Not the full video, but a 15-minute preview. So, I will see you guys then. Thank you all, and also, sorry for the audio, I had to edit a lot of it because I've had a sore throat all weekend, so, yeah. But, that was all. See you guys later.